ओम नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। यन्नित्यमानन्दमनन्तमेकं शिवेति नाम्ना श्रुतयो गृह्णन्ति तस्यावतारो नररूपधारी कृपासुदाब्धि भुवि रामकृष्णः। जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयो श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। यैरिमे गुरुभिः पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याता सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। यस्यात्मभूतस्य गुरोः प्रसादात् अहं विमुक्तोऽस्मि शरीरबन्धात्। सर्वोपदेष्टुः पुरुषोत्तमस्य तस्याङ्घ्रियुग्मं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्। Basic problem in human life is nothing but a feeling of limitation. I am limited space-wise, time-wise. I am limited physically, economically, emotionally, intellectually. This limitation makes a person to struggle to get freedom from these limitations. The struggling person is called mumukshuhu, moktum ichuhu, one who wants to get rid of this limitation. And the solution must be the knowledge that I am not limited entity, I am infinite entity. Parichinnatvam is the cause of samsara. Aparichinnatvam, akhandatvam is the solution. We have seen that definition of moksha. Brahma bhavaha hi mokshaha. Being Brahman, being infinite, being significant entity, being limitless is called freedom. And that freedom cannot be a result of any sadhana. Because any result is time bound. Any result is a future affair. It is going to arrive, therefore only it is going to depart also. Therefore, moksha cannot be karma phalam. Brahman cannot be karma phalam. Infinite cannot be karma phalam. Because karma phalam, that means a result of any sadhana, is time bound. Therefore, we have only one option to find out whether we are intrinsically infinite or not. Who will reveal this knowledge? We have 5 sense organs which are called pratyaksha pramana, which reveals that I am limited in so many aspects. Who will reveal that I am not limited? Vedanta Parampara says, Shastram alone is pramanam. Shastram alone can reveal your real nature, and it reveals Tadu Tvam Asi. You are that entity which you are seeking for. In the last class we saw how Shastric revelation is valid. As Pratyaksha Pramanam is valid, as our sense organs are valid in revealing our body, mind, world. Similarly, Shastra is Pramanam in revealing our real nature. Pratyaksha Pramanam reveals that I am limited. Shastra Pramanam reveals that I am infinite. Which one is correct? If I have concluded that my Pratyaksha Pramanam means sense organs. Whatever is revealed by sense organs are final. If I have concluded, then I have no hope. Because up to my death, the sense organs are going to reveal the same thing. And there is no need for sadhana at all, because if limitation is my real nature, then there is no question of changing it, because anything real cannot be changed. So if I am finite really, then naturally I cannot struggle for freedom. Therefore, we have only one hope, and that hope is Shastra Praman. And in the last class, we argued how can we believe in the words of Shastra. We have seen that Shastra is Pramanam because it fulfills all the three criteria of being Pramanam. As sense organ reveal new thing, Shastra also reveals new thing. As sense organ reveal a new thing which cannot be refuted by other sense organs, Shastra also reveals a new thing which cannot be refuted by all the other five sense organs. As sense organ reveal useful thing to my life, similarly Shastra also reveals useful information about my life. Anadhigata abadita arthavate jnana karanatvat. Therefore, now the question is whether I am Jivaha or I am Brahman. This should be analyzed. This should be seen through. That's why Vedanta compels everyone who wants to be free from sorrows, who wants to be free from sufferings. It says, Atmava are drashtavyaha, shrotavyaha, mantavyaha, nididhyasitavyaha. One should see the fact. How can one see the fact? By going through a process called Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasana. In today's class, we will see what these words Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam means. As I told, both are Pramanam. Both Pratyaksham and Shastra, both are Pramanam, because both are fulfilling the criteria. Both are telling new thing, both are telling unnegatable thing, both are telling useful thing. Now, if both are Pramanam, both information must be truth. One information is I am limited, another information is I am infinite. Which one is truth? I cannot reject either of them. I cannot reject my sense organs as false, illusionary, nor I can reject the Shastram as false. I cannot reject Shastram as some words, cold words written by some jobless, unemployable rishis. Why? Because whatever Shastram reveals is a time-tested wisdom. It cannot tell lie. Being the words of Bhagavan himself, it cannot tell lie. Therefore, it can never go wrong. It is proven in some of the fortunate people's life. We find people with this knowledge are very happy without any blessed thing in the creation. So I should give a chance, one chance for Shastra to speak to me. Suppose somebody wants to tell something, if you don't allow him to speak at all, what you will do? You will be the loser. 4 or 5 people are friends and their apartment is 21st floor. One fellow is always talkative. So others used to tell, keep quiet, keep quiet. They wanted to go to that apartment, go to their flat. They found that lift is not working. So they started walking. While climbing, the talkative fellow wanted to tell something. Others pounced on him. Don't talk, keep quiet. Second floor, he tried. While climbing fourth floor, he tried to tell something. Up to end, they never allowed him to talk. Then, after reaching 21st floor, by walk, they asked for key. So this fellow, who is labeled as a talkative person, he told, that's what I want to say. What you want to say? What you want to say? From beginning onwards, I want to say same thing. What do you want to say? We left the key in office. So, you should allow him to talk. If anybody wants to give some information, one should be allowed to talk. Similarly, Vedanta Shastra wants to give something about ourselves, some information about ourselves. Therefore, we should allow the Vedanta Parampara to talk. Beginning itself, if you have concluded these are all good for nothing fellows, failures in life, love failure or economic failure or some failures, then who will be the loser? Humanity is the loser. Therefore only Bhagavan says, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. One who has this knowledge, that Shastra is a valid pramanam. It's a valid source of knowledge. Jnanam labhate. He gains knowledge. Without Shraddha, we will not even attempt to verify what it wants to say. Shraddha doesn't mean belief. Shraddha doesn't mean faith. Shraddha means knowledge that it is valid source of information. Like we have Shraddha in our sense organs, similarly, if anyone has Shraddha in the Vedic wisdom, that person jnanam labhate. Therefore, without Shraddha, we will not attempt to verify the Shastram. You will conclude that Shastram is a mere book written by some rishis. And without attempting to verify the Shastram and Pratyaksham, you cannot reconcile these contradictory ideas about yourself. If both are telling same thing, it's okay. One is enough. Both are telling contradictory things. And which side I will take? And taking side will determine my happiness. Therefore, I cannot be casual also. Okay, you wanted to tell Swami something, you tell. Okay, time pass. Sunday evening, 5:30 to 6:30, time pass, you tell. Like that, I cannot be casual also. Because it is a valid knowledge. And I have to be very, very alert in receiving this information. Nor I can accept it. Just because a Swami says, I cannot accept it. Because it is contradictory thing. Nor I can say, yes Swami, I believe you. There is no question of belief. There is no question of dogma. You can believe that there is a God sitting in heaven. Okay, no problem. You can believe. Because you don't have any means to verify. You don't have any means to verify. Therefore, you can believe in somebody's words. Here, Shastram, Vedanta Shastram doesn't talk about something paroksham. It doesn't talk about something which is not within our purview. It talks about ourselves. Therefore, alertness and enquiry is a must. Athato Brahma Jignasa. One has to do Jignasa. One has to do Vichara about the infinite nature of oneself. And this enquiry should happen with the guidance of a teacher who has the key, who has the methodology of teaching. It should happen through his guidance. If it happens for a sufficient period of time, then you discover that your jivatvam is a bhrantihi. Jivatvam, limitation, is a bhrantihi. Bhrantihi means confusion. From bhranti only that word might have come, brandy. You see? Bhrantihi. So this bhrantihi has to be negated. Why it is a confusion? Because Shastra proves that the conclusion is a confusion because you don't have any data to conclude. You don't have any data to conclude that you are a limited entity. All pratyaksha pramanam can show about only properties. Eyes can show forms and colors. Ears can show only sound. Nose can show only smell. Tongue can show only taste. Skin can show only touch. All are properties. All are properties of some object. So pratyaksham can never show about the substance, about the subject. It cannot know anything about the substance called consciousness. Because the consciousness is not in front of the sense organs, it is behind the sense organs. Because of which the very sense organs are alive. Like in an example, battery in a torchlight is not in front of the bulb. It is behind the bulb. If you want to know what brand it is, you have to have one more illuminating entity. You cannot see the thing which is behind, because of which the very instrument is operative. Similarly, pratyaksham, sense organs can never show anything about our real nature. Shastram alone shows. What Shastram shows is Brahmatvam is our real nature. Brahmatvam is our real nature. Shastram doesn't negate what sense organs show. What sense organs show? That this body is a limited entity, that this body is growing, graying and dying. Growing, graying, dying. It doesn't negate, it doesn't say that your body is infinite. It doesn't say your body is infinite. It says your body is finite only. Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityuhu. But you are not body is the new information. What pratyaksham shows cannot be negated by Shastram. What Shastram shows cannot be negated by pratyaksham. Both are valid source of knowledge, but both are working in different fields. Pratyaksham, sense organs are working in properties, forms and colors, sounds and tastes and touch. But Shastra Pramanam is working in substance, the subject, the consciousness. Therefore, Shastra says you are not body, but your body is limited. Shastra says pratyaksham doesn't have any access to your real nature, which happen to be infinite. It is like a person trying to find out his identity. He wants to know who am I. He wants to know who am I. Suppose if he wants to know who am I and sits in meditation, will he get the answer? Or does some seva, will he get answer? No. He has to approach a proper source of knowledge. And the proper source of knowledge is not pratyaksham, not any other activities, but Shastra. In our Guru Parampara, they give a classical example. Karna is the example. Karna wanted to know his identity. Who am I? Whole life he suffered because of this identity. Society has given him an identity called Sutaputraha because he was brought up by a servant. Therefore, he is also a servant, son of a servant. But his instincts, natural instincts, doesn't accept. It is not allowing him to accept that. Therefore, always he was in conflicts. My parents say that I am brought up by them, not begetted by them. I am not born to them, they say. So who is my father? Who is my mother? So whole life he got various types of sufferings because of this one question. And at the end of his life, he gets the answer. Who can give this answer? Please tell. Who can give identity to a child? Only mother can give. That mother Kunti Devi comes and says, Karna, I had 6 children. Is it so, mother? Is it so? We all know that only 5 you have. Only 5 children you have. No, I had 6 children. Who is the 6th one? Kunti Devi says, Tadu Tvam Asi. You are that. If it is in a cinema, there will be close-up shot, background music, sweating. But in real life, these things don't happen. Like Kunti Mata, Shruti Mata also comes and says, Tadu Tvam Asi. That which you are seeking after happen to be, my dear, you yourself. Therefore, one should seriously involve in understanding this revelation. While understanding this revelation, we will have lots of questions. Shastra Parampara clears all those doubts. That is why Bhagavan has to talk 2.5 hours, 18 chapters, 17 chapters he has to talk just to reveal the real identity of Arjuna. During that conversation, Arjuna asked repeatedly the same question. With all patience, Bhagavan replies everything. Similarly, Shastra Parampara also, with full of love and compassion. Oh humanity, you are suffering for no reason. Ashocyan anvashocastvam pragyavadam cha bhashase gatasun agatasunshcha na anushocanti panditaha panditaha na anushocanti. Wise men never grieve. There is no situation in life for a person to have sorrow or grief. Either for living one or for dead and gone. Who else is there is still? You cannot have sorrow with regard to living people. You cannot have sorrow with regard to dead and gone. Who else is there in our life? Either people in this category or in that category. Correct? We have sorrow with regard to people who are living with us. We have sorrow with regard to people who have left us. Bhagavan says, Panditaha na anushochanti. Therefore, one should struggle with all sincerity to find out what is the teaching. Shastra talks about lot of things. If you take Gita, it talks about lot of things, beginning from dietary instructions onwards, yogasana, so many pranayama, so many things it talks about. Bhakti, karma yoga, Swarga, Naraka, Papa, Punya, everything it talks about. But what is the final one? What is the final one? Ahamatma Gudakesha Sarvabhuta Shayastitaha. Kshetrajnam Chapi Mam Vidhi. You know Mam, you know me, who happen to be Kshetrajnaha, who happen to be your own very nature, your own Atma. So, Tad Tvam Asi. You are infinite entity. You are Jagat Karanam Brahma is the revelation. To reject this revelation, one should be blindfolded. Suppose eyes show something. How can you reject that knowledge? You have to blindfold your eyes like Gandhari. You have to say, I am not interested in seeing. Why? Because my husband is not able to see, therefore I am not interested. What a grand mistake. It was the greatest blunder in the entire Mahabharata. Because of this blunder alone, all problems have come in that family. Dhritarashtra could not see, unfortunately. His wife should see on behalf of Dhritarashtra also, actually. Correct? Husband is not able to see, wife should see. But she has refused to see, refused to operate this Pratyaksha Pramanam. And that idiot Dhritarashtra also was happy with that. Okay, I am not able to see. Nice it is. You are also not seeing. He should have told, hey, my dear, you should see for your sake and for my sake also you should see. Remove this. But he agreed. What was the result? 100 idiots are born. 100 idiots. They did not get a loving glance of the mother's eye. When child is growing up, lots of teaching are happening because of mother's glance. If you want to know, just offer a chocolate to a 1 year or 2 year old child. It will not come and take from your hands. It will see mother's eyes. Without speaking, mother will give permission or rejection. Lots of things happen through the glance of mother. Child learns life. But what happened? These Duryodhanas did not have that fortune to be taught by the mother, because mother has refused to use this pramanam. She doomed her life, she doomed her husband's life, she doomed her entire family. From one aspect, it was what you call glorified as pativrata. It's all nonsense. You can be a faithful and loyal wife without tying the eyes also. Understand? So therefore, Shastra Parampara says, hey, Bhagavan has given you one more source of knowledge to lead your life. If you refuse that source of knowledge, if you refuse that Shastram as the source of knowledge to lead your life will be what? Reduced to animalistic kavo piyo, suffering karo. Understand? If there is no Shastram in somebody's life, he has to depend upon this Pratyaksha Pramanam, sense organs only. What sense organs can reveal to us? Only 5 objects. Only 5 objects. All our life are reduced to eating, sleeping, quarreling, and suffering. Therefore, an intelligent person will take this as a pramanam, valid source of knowledge, and try to analyze what it says is right or wrong. What it says is exactly right. We have dealt it because there is no other information possible about yourself. I hope you remember that example. If I ask, who are you? You will tell your name. I don't ask your name, who are you? You tell your father's name. That is your relationship with another person. Who are you? You tell your degree. That is your qualification. Who are you? I am engineer. That is your profession. Who are you? Like that. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? This question can never be answered. Finally, you have to say, I don't know. Finally, you have to say, I don't know. That time only Shastra comes and says, you are infinite conscious entity. Tadu tvam asi. When that is understood, now Next stage is samshayaha, doubts. Because what Vedanta reveals, I cannot verify. And what Vedanta reveals cannot be negated by sense organ. And what Vedanta reveals is a new thing for me. So therefore there will be doubts. And that is called samshayaha. To remove those doubts, one should go through the process called mananam. By the process of shravanam, I get the last word of the Vedantic teaching. And the last word is about myself, tadu tvam asi. Same Vedanta talks about Ishvara. Same Vedanta talks about Papa, Punya, Sadhana, worship, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, so many yogas it talks about. Finally it says, all these are all nonsense. These are all standpoints. From the standpoint of your Jivatva, these are all there. But from the absolute standpoint, you are infinite entity. Na nirodho na chotpattihi na baddho na cha sadakaha na mumukshuhu navai muktaha ityesha paramarthata. There is nothing called bondage. It's all your illusion. That is the revelation we get from Shravanam. But that revelation, we are not able to accept that revelation because we may ask a question. If I am Brahman, why I have become Jivaha? If I am infinite, why I have become finite? Because I am experiencing finitude. You are telling I am infinite, but I am experiencing finitude. This experience cannot be negated. If I am infinite, why I have become finite? Second question is how to become infinite. And third question is, I understand that Shastra will not tell lie. I understand that what Shastra says may be true. But how to experience that? So these are all the questions comes in our mind. Vedanta Parampara, with all patience, tries to reply. What it says is, you never became finite. Your body is finite. You have identified with that body. Therefore, you appear to be finite. You never become finite. You can never experience the infinite entity because you are infinite. Being infinite, how can you experience something infinite again? Because any experience is experiencer and experience dichotomy is there. Object of experience is there, this table is there, I am there. Both are different. If I want to experience Brahman also like this table, it cannot be Brahman. Because what is the definition of Brahman? That which doesn't have any definition, any limitation. Therefore, I should try to understand that I, the experiencer, is that infinite entity. In all other knowledge, experiencer and experienced object are different. By knowing that, one doesn't become that entity. By knowing chemicals, the chemist doesn't become chemical. By knowing physical laws, the physicist doesn't become physical law. But here Vedanta says, Brahma vidhi Brahmaiva bhavati. You know Brahman, you become that Brahman. So how can I become by knowledge? There is only one possibility. And that possibility is what? I must be that whether I know it or not. I must be that whether I know it or not. Somebody comes and says, Raja Tomasi, you are the king. Can anybody become king by this statement? Can anybody become king by this statement? Yes. Under only one condition. If that fellow is born as a king, then by the simple knowledge, he becomes the king. Therefore, Shastra says that you have to ask questions and questions. That is why the very teaching is in contradictory terms. While describing that infinite entity, it says, Mahato Mahiyan, bigger than the biggest. Then we take telescope to want to see that, how it is. Then immediately it says, Anoho Aniyan, smaller than the smallest. You tell. Now you have to take microscope. How can one and the same entity can be biggest and the smallest? It wants to say it is neither. By telling biggest, it rejects the smallest. By telling smallest, it rejects the idea of biggest. Because our mind is full of these type of ideas. We cannot know anything without the form. We cannot know anything without the definition. Therefore, to break this orientation of defining every blessed thing in the creation, Shastra uses this type of contradiction words. Dhurat sudure tad antikecha. It is farther than the farthest. It is in Vaikunta, Shivaloka. Then immediately it says, tad antikecha. It is very, very near. Why very, very near? It is the nearest. So how a same thing can be both farthest and nearest? By contradictory terms, it wants to show that it doesn't come any of your definition, because all definitions are for objects and objects only. Until the student is free from all types of doubts, there is a necessity of guidance from the Guru Parampara. What Vedanta reveals? Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Three things it reveals. In our mind we have concepts about three things. About ourselves, about this creation, about the creator. Jagat Mithya. There is nothing called creation. It's all manifestation of the God, the creator. One statement. Second statement, that God alone is Satyam. And this creation is appearance. Mithya means not absent, it is appearance. And the individual is none other than the Lord himself. All these three statements are unswallowable. My Acharya used to say, when Vedanta says this, 1/3, 33% of humanity rejects outright. It's all pure nonsense. Then another 1/3, 33%, having Shraddha in scripture, it says, it's okay, maybe true, but illogical. If that is the only truth, then why so many acharyas, so many religions, so many mathas? All are good people only, all are Mahatmas only. Whose words I should take? It's all illogical. Second group over. Third group is there. It is truth, it is logical also, but I am not prepared for it. என்ன போய் பிரம்மன்னு சொல்றீங்களே சுவாமி? I am not that. You may be. Teacher, you may be. Swami, you may be that, but I am not that. So 99% has gone. Only 1% sane person. He is the only sane person. He has the boldness to verify the revelations of Vedanta. He has the boldness to ask questions and remove all illogicality of the revelation. And he has the boldness to prepare himself to assimilate that knowledge. Therefore, all these three revelations are unswallowable. We will see how it is unswallowable. Vedanta says, Brahmaiva Satyam. Pratyaksha never shows anywhere anything called Brahman. Have you seen anything called God? Brahman means God. Pratyaksha doesn't show. But Shastra says that is the only entity available as a real entity. And Pratyaksha shows that I am limited. Shastra says I am infinite. And Pratyaksha shows this world is tangible, useful. Tangible for my experience, useful for my life. How can you say it is appearance? So one requires lot of patience, lot of questioning mind. That's why Vedanta says that one has to prepare. One has to prepare with lots of sadhanas. One has to prepare one's mind through devotion and other thing. After preparation, if you come to Vedanta, your receiving the knowledge becomes very easy. Even after receiving, even after knowing that Shastra will not tell because it is Bhagavan's words, it has worked in so many people's life, it is a time tested wisdom, there is a Guru Parampara till date, and what it says is not illogical. What it says is not illogical. It doesn't contradict the Pratyaksham. Therefore, it is truth only. Even after understanding, even after removing all the doubts, one will have problem in conducting one's life according to this knowledge. In Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, we find there was a person, he used to call himself Kha Kha. Kha means space. I am Akhanda Vastu. Sri Ramakrishna used to love him because he is a Vedantin, Advaita Vedantin, so he used to love him. One day when he went to his residence, that time this person was sitting with sad face. What happened? Tax collector has come. Then immediately Sri Ramakrishna says, what tax you can have? Who is there as a tax collector? For what purpose you will pay the tax? Your space, your Kha, like that. When Sri Ramakrishna told like this, then if he is a shrewd person, immediately he will say yes, what you say is right. But that person was not that much shrewd. He has not assimilated the teaching. He was not conducting his life based on the teaching. So he told, these are all okay when you hear in lectures. But when taxpayer comes to your house telling that your house is in insolvency or something, then you will understand like that. So there is a problem even after understanding the truth. In conducting my life, there is a problem because of Viparita Bhavana. All these years, in many Janmas, I have conducted my life based on one idea that I am a limited individual having so and so identity with body and mind, having lots of wants, trying to fulfill all those wants. Now Vedanta comes and says you cannot have any want at all. You are Purnam, you are Akhandam, there is nothing second entity at all. Even after knowing, understanding that it is a fact, still a person may not be able to conduct his life. It's all Viparita Bhavana. To remove that Viparita Bhavana, one more sadhana process is told, that is called Nididhyasanam. One has to spend time with this teaching. It is not weekly affair. 1 hour Sunday, it's not weekly affair. The entire life should be dedicated for this. Otherwise, what happens? Repeatedly we will be hearing these from many lecturers and from many sadhus, but still we will go out of the class. Nicely, he told nicely. He told nicely. What do you mean that? People come and tell to Swami also, Swami, nice it is. What do you mean nice? Whether you understood or not is the question. What do you mean by nice? How can you give judgment? So the life will be different and knowledge will be different. It is like water and oil. Our old personality doesn't allow to live a new life. Our old personality doesn't allow us to live a new life based on this teaching. For example, like a beggar who got lottery. He got 1 crore rupees in lottery and he purchased a nice necklace and golden rings and anklets. In 10 fingers he has put his rings. All the 10 fingers with coat, shoe, tie and with necklace. He is walking on the road. Suddenly he saw a group of people gathered near the temple. So as even he saw that group, immediately he rushed towards it and he found that it is something very grand and their prasadam is distributed. So what happened? Because of his old personality of rushing to get the prasadam, he also forgot himself as a crorepati, having shoes and what you call coat and shoes and having 10 rings in his fingers. He also rushed and simply stretched his hands. The priest who is distributing prasada, he sees a hand with 5 fingers and 5 golden rings, anklets, so many things. And he is wondering, who is this fellow? I am giving only 10 rupee prasada. For this, who is this fellow stretching and the hands are coming and hitting my feet? Who is this fellow? And he saw this fellow beggar, old beggar. In spite of being a crorepati, his old vasana is there, na? Old vasana that doesn't allow him to claim his new status. And he saw that beggar and he uttered a word, "Chi, you are." Like that only he told. Immediately the beggar understood his mistake. Arare, in spite of being crorepati, why should I rush towards for prasada? I can offer prasada to Lord. I can offer annadana to many people. In spite of my being rich, being crorepati, still I continue to be a beggar. Similarly, human mind also very difficult to get rid of this rut called limitation. And even if we want to forget our old vasanas and limitations, family members are there to remind. Some occasion may provoke us. Then spouse will tell, didn't I tell you? No Vedanta will work. Didn't I tell you? அப்பவே சொன்ன இல்ல, படிச்சு பிரயோஜனம் இல்ல. You are going for Gita class, Vedanta class, Upanishad class. No change at all. They come and tell to Swami also, Swami, my husband attends your classes, but no change. That is the grandness of your teaching. So Swami has to tell, he has to accept what to do. I am poor Swami, I don't have that much of tapasya to enter into the brain of the student and change his thought process. Even Bhagavan cannot do that. Even Bhagavan cannot do that. He can hope, he can reveal and hope the student is qualified and he will assimilate this teaching. That's why after completing his teaching, Bhagavan Krishna asked Arjuna, Kachitetat Shrutam Partha? Anything entered your ears? That was the question. That was the question. But this system of Guru Shishya Parampara, sadhus talking to the society, sadhus talking to the devotees, we don't know when this fire will start burning. Therefore, Guru Parampara told, whether you understand or not, whether you come and sleep or not, whether you come from home in order to avoid the family problem or not, because Sunday means all people will come, they will pickle pudungal. Sunday evening marketing means 1,000 rupees gone. Ashrama means at least 1 hour joke, 1 hour some lecture, some arati, of course prasada also is there. So nicely spent. Whatever may be the intention, come and sit and allow the ears to hear. Slowly this will create an ambience in your mind. Let me see whether these people repeatedly telling is a right thing or not. This inquiry comes when the life pushes us to the corner. That's what we find in Arjuna's life. He has forgotten everything. Even though he declared, Nashto mohaha smutirlabdha tat prasadad mayachute. My delusion has gone because of your gracious teaching. Even though he declared, after the war he asked Krishna, Krishna, that day something you are shouting. Because Krishna had to shout, 36 lakh people are standing there. 18 Akshaukanis means more than 36 lakhs people, elephants, horses, and noisy atmosphere. In that, Bhagavan was so sane, so pleasant. Prahasanniva Bharata, with all smile, 2.5 hours you shouted. Something that I entered and I forgot. Can you teach one more time? See the glory of Bhagavan. See the what you call compassion of Bhagavan. Again he teaches him. That is called Anugita in Mahabharata when it comes. That also doesn't work. After 36 years, when Krishna gave up his body, he found his entire life is a shunya. Life situation has pushed him to the corner. What life it is? Vanjitoham Mahabhaga. Bandhuna Hari Rupina. I am deserted by Hari Krishna. When he cried, that time Bhagavatam says, why you are crying, my dear? I am your own very self. Where I have gone? This was the teaching given by Krishna himself during Gita time. That time comes out. That time comes out when his entire mind is full of vairagyam. That time the teaching comes out. Therefore, Guru Parampara says, no one can measure either his vairagyam or others' vairagyam. Correct? When you will prepare, whether you will get the teacher or not, at least hear those vocabularies, those ideas, and it will work. Like a seed, powerful seed, waits for rain, waits for an opportunity to sprout. So therefore, in order to understand the teaching, what is the teaching? You are infinite is the teaching, and that teaching alone is the solution. No other solution is possible. In the beginning, in the earlier classes of this topic, we have analyzed varieties of solutions. Going to some Surgaloka, going to Vaikunta, Shivaloka. Still the question comes, so what? You are the citizen of Vaikunta, so what? You are near the Lord, so what? You are servant of the Lord, so what? Even if you are a servant of the Lord, you will be born as Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha. So what? Are you the Lord? Are you everything? Then only there is no question possible. There is no possibility of this question. So what? Tatakkim, tatakkim, tatakkim. So what? So what? So what? This question begins from our small things in our life. 10th standard passed, so what? Higher secondary passed, so what? Degree passed, so what? PhD passed, so what? Employed, so what? Employer, so what? MLA, so what? MP, so what? Prime Minister, so what? So what? So the so what question will continue and continue, and there is always fear, anxiety. So there is no other possibility of solving this riddle called I am small, I lack so many things. To fulfill those wants, I struggle. While struggling, I acquire so many other wants. Again I run and run. Samsaraha samyak sarati iti samsari. One who travels, one who runs always is called a samsari. From deha to deha, from loka to loka, from continent to continent, from one nation to another nation, from one place to another place, from one room to another room. Simply we are traveling and traveling and traveling. From one avastha to another avastha. Jagrata avastha to Swapnavastha. Swapnavastha to Sushupti Avastha. Sushupti Avastha to again Jagrat Swapna. Like that, traveling and traveling. When we become tired, then this knowledge, the Shastra Pramanam, validity of Shastra Pramanam, validity of Guru Parampara, we understand only when we become tired. Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan Brahmano Nirvedamayat Nastya Krita Kritene Tad Vijnanartham Sa Gurungeva Abhigachet Samitpanihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishta. While going through the life, the very life situation will tell futility of every achievement in our life. That doesn't mean that we should not struggle to achieve those things. Shastra says, struggle to achieve those things, struggle to become educated, rich person, powerful person, but be alert and ask this question, so what? If you don't ask, society will ask question, so what? So you ask with alert mind, all right, I have become this much, so what? So therefore, one should prepare oneself. And that preparation is a teaching of entire Veda. Entire Veda talks about the preparation of mind to receive this grandest knowledge in our life. For that preparation alone, Karma Yoga is given. Devata Upasana is given. And values in human life are given. This Shastra which talks about you are Brahman, same Shastra talks about you are not Brahman. You are not Brahman. You are a small, tiny, insignificant entity. When Shastra says like this, we say, yes, I know that, Swami. I know that. From which standpoint? I am small, insignificant entity from the standpoint of body and mind. So same Shastra prescribes a sadhana, series of sadhana it prescribes. Same Shastra reveals that there is an Ishvara. You can see him in visions. You can meditate on him. All those things are valid from preparation standpoint, valid for utility. They are not valid in terms of reality, but they are valid in terms of utility. They are valid from preparation standpoint. For example, when you are carrying a clay pot, I say you are having a clay. Is it truth or not? Truth. And again another statement I say, you are having a pot. Is it truth or not? Truth. Both cannot be truth. One is truth from the utility standpoint. Another is truth from the substance standpoint. You got the point? Similarly, Shastra says you are Jivaha from utility standpoint, from preparation standpoint. Same Shastra says you are Brahman from real standpoint. This is the problem in Vedanta. If a person doesn't have a guide to learn, then Vedanta becomes a funny thing. One moment you say you do sadhana, another moment you say you are Brahman. What does it mean? So all the Westerners who learned Sanskrit language and tried to understand the Upanishad and tried to understand the Shankara Bhashyam, they got confused and told what they have written, Shankaracharya is a confused person. Because one sutra he writes there is Ishvara and Jiva sadhana should be there. Next sutra, next aphorism, he says there is nothing called Jiva or Ishvara, no sadhana at all. Everything is Brahman. That Brahma Sutra comes in that way only. One sutra talks about Jiva Bhava, another sutra talks about Brahma Bhava. So they have concluded that Shankaracharya is a confused person. My teacher used to say this. It is like a person who wanted to know how to wear the Upavita, the sacred thread. Because he wanted to attend some marriages and get some dakshina. So he wanted to have a sacred thread. He thought, all right, let me go and see the Brahmanas, how they are wearing the sacred thread. So he went on the bank of the river And there he found a Brahmana is there. And 5 minutes he is wearing from left to right. Next 2 minutes he is wearing from right to left. Next 1 minute he is wearing center. So this fellow decided, oh, Brahmana himself is confused how to wear left to right or right to left or center. Why? He was changing the direction of the Upavita because that day Tarpana was going on. Certain offerings can be given by wearing the sacred thread left to right, certain are right to left, certain are center. Similarly, we should not conclude Vedanta is a text with a lot of confusion, and these acharyas always, these sannyasins always, they say no Brahman. Now they will say Arati bell is over, go and attend Arati. Both are valid instructions. So we want this knowledge, we have to prepare for this knowledge. For preparation, varieties of sadhanas are there. Those sadhanas we will see in the next class. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sade Sri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.